At the beginning of the story, a host of people, from women to men, regardless of age, bear strange tattoos imprinted all over their bodies, known as mark seals, a type of divine power said to have existed since the dawn of humanity. Those born with innate mark seals reign as leaders over all creatures. Ancient relics record that these beings held supernatural power beyond the natural order. Under their rule, ancient humanity revered the mark seals as a divine blessing, a miracle granted by God. Yet, a demon, with many spider-like arms and a fierce, ugly face passed down through cultures, among countless mark seals, there was a single one called a curse, the Attila's mark seal. Amidst a snowstorm, a young man fled desperately, his body battered with countless arrow wounds. On his bare back was the terrifying Attila's mark seal. "Stop right there, bastard." His eyes dimmed as he collapsed, bloodied hands trembling as they pressed into the cold snow. He heard voices behind him saying, "Forget it. Let him run." The pursuers, armed and furious, their faces filled with rage and fear, warned, "And never show your face here again." They watched him crawl and disappear into a tiny speck against the vast white snow. The monster. He fled in panic, seemingly oblivious to pain, straight from ancient times. He ran while breathing heavily, his breath coming out labored. His face was bloodied, eyes wide open trying to hold on to some clarity. Those born with this mark carry a fate. In the forest blanketed in pure white snow, the faint footprints along with the sprawling crawling traces left on the ground would inevitably be buried by the snowstorm. Destiny had been sealed. Ban collapsed completely, sprawling on the snow, leaving a long streak of blood trailing his footprints. The first sunlight of the day gradually appeared, like marking a new beginning. Exhausted, Ban coughed up blood. His body was utterly drained, no strength left to move. He hazily noticed a figure rushing towards him, shouting loudly, That's a human! Oh my God! He's covered in blood." Brutal bruises marked his face and body everywhere. Ban had no strength to resist, not even knowing whether those rushing over were friend or foe. His eyes gradually lost their light. Before losing consciousness completely, Ban briefly saw a young man and two women. Their eyes were filled with panic as they raised their hands, casting healing spells. "We have to stop the bleeding immediately. Quickly, Linda, use the mark technique." "Don't worry." Ban fainted, utterly losing consciousness, bringing destruction in his wake. 7 years later, in a small village nestled within the forest, voices arose filled with irritation and impatience. "No, I told you, we know nothing at all." The old couple stubbornly insisted, their faces defiant and unyielding. "Why is the seal of Atula here? You have already turned this small village upside down like digging for fleas. Leave quickly." The bald man seemed angered by the villager's spirit, but could do nothing except turn around with his companions to leave. He shouted loudly, Fine, we're leaving. Those old folks are truly noisy." He and a long-haired accomplice reported back to Ketharak. "There's nothing here. I searched the whole area. They said there wasn't a single mage born with a seal in this region." Hearing this, he merely pondered silently. As expected, he reached out toward the two subordinates. "Hey, come here a moment." Immediately, he plunged his hand into their stomachs, piercing through thick skin and fat, causing blood to spatter like rain. The two subordinates were struck with horror, unable to react in time, only able to scream in agony. Just as the bald man collapsed at his feet, Ketharak coldly reproached, "Someone without a seal or any magic. How could they be found?" He bared his sharp teeth in a terrifying smile and gazed gleefully at his blood-stained hands. "But I can sense it. The smell of this terrible destruction." Amidst the dense mountain forest, the clear sky echoed a call. "Ban, Linda, they're gone. Come outside." At that moment, Ban and Linda crawled out from inside the hollow tree. In Kara's affectionate gaze, she stretched in full comfort. "The air outside is so fresh," Ben breathed out relieved. "Phew." He looked at Partel sadly, blaming himself. "Sorry, it's just because of me that strangers keep coming here." The old man responded cheerfully, "Kid, no one here really cares about those things." Kara gently stroked Ban's and Linda's cheeks affectionately while wiping the dust off the two children. You two are all covered in dust. The lady smiled softly, reminiscing about the past. Come to think of it, you two have always been hiding down here. Linda smiled shyly at Ban and bowed her head, and he quietly admitted, Ban likes it here. Yes, she replied. The four of them simultaneously looked up at the large canopy of trees covering the sky. Warm sunlight shone through the leaves. This is exactly where you were rescued 7 years ago. Ban squinted slightly, feeling the sunlight caress his face, nostalgically recalling the rescue that pulled him out of darkness many years ago. That's why this is my favorite place in the whole village. The four laughed and played happily amidst the trees. You're such a good kid. Ouch, that hurts. Mom. Dad is teasing Ban again. Partel, still holding Ban firmly with his strong arms, suddenly remembered and asked. The three all turned their heads towards Kara. What about the wedding preparations? She replied calmly. It's all done. We're just waiting for the sun to set to begin. He asked the children cheerfully. Good. You're looking forward to it, right? They replied in unison. Yes. At night, a corner of the forest was brightly lit by the glow of a campfire. The villagers gathered around a big fire with banquet tables arranged all around. Ban was tense, his body stiff as a log. Linda was the opposite, her smile gentle and loving. Linda. Partel stood between the two as the wedding officiant, throwing his arms around them to pull them closer together. The villagers around fell silent to listen. The two of you are now officially husband and wife. Please say a few vows before everyone. Linda happily declared, raising her fist into the air and clenching it. I will make her so happy she will cry. That's it. The villagers responded with cheers. Oh, that's our Linda. Amazing. Ban also spoke slowly, bowing his head with remorse. First of all, I apologize to everyone, because today I have caused trouble for the whole village again. Ban recalled a dark and painful past burdened by the Azura mark on his back, countless hands pulling him down into a deep, dark despair. Wherever I went, plagues, wars, massacres, and natural disasters followed. Wherever I went, cries of pain and despair were always behind me. I never had a place to take refuge. This small village once saved and sheltered me. If 7 years ago no one had accepted me, the memories gradually swarmed like flickering lanterns. Stop the bleeding, bring warm water here. For the first time, Ban woke surrounded by the concern of kind strangers. He's awake. Hey, can you hear me? Awake. You've been dead for a long time. He emotionally expressed sincere gratitude from the depths of his heart. That is why I still don't know for sure whether someone like me, bearing the Azura mark, deserves to be here or not. Just as Ban was not paying attention, a fist suddenly lunged forward. Linda angrily threw a punch that made Ban's face twist. Hey, what nonsense are you talking about? She looked firmly at him sprawled on the ground and said resolutely, If we were afraid of that, we wouldn't have saved you. Under the warm, blazing red firelight, Linda slowly expressed, Ban, 7 years ago, when we first met, it would be a lie to say I wasn't worried about you. She nostalgically recalled the catastrophe from years ago with a sigh in her heart. But then the real disaster truly descended upon the village afterward. Everyone looked toward Ban, who was using his whole body as a flesh shield, enduring unbearable pain as the sharp thorns pierced through him just to protect Linda. Inside, they were still stunned, realizing he had protected all of them. Back to reality, Linda bent down and poked Ban, who smiled at her. That's why we decided not to worry anymore. Linda gently looked at him with tender eyes, mixed with hope for a bright future. Even if another calamity strikes, we will overcome it together, just like back then. The villagers all laughed heartily together. That's right, Ban, we will protect you for life. You're still so young. Can you really take care of Linda? Kara also came over to reassure them, patting the shoulders of the two children. Come on, we still have to finish the wedding. The two gazed at each other passionately. I love you too, Linda. I love you, Ban. Immediately after, they shared a deep kiss. In the darkness, Ketharak parted his lips with a meaningful smile. Oh, how delightful! He crazily curled his lips into a grin, his face shrouded in darkness like a monster. I'm about to cry. In the distant background, a lively wedding ceremony was taking place, illuminated by the flickering campfire. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the entire forest, right where the small village had gathered. Ban dazedly opened his eyes and looked at his blood-soaked hands. Looking closely again, he saw that the area around him was strewn with villagers' corpses. Ban was utterly horrified. His pupils contracted in disbelief at what was happening, and he froze in shock. Ban's eyes darted around ceaselessly, but he only saw motionless bodies, blood staining the ground red. He screamed in terror. From above, the scene was even more horrifying. In the midst of the flames was a large blackened patch like a black hole, surrounded by bodies lying scattered with no one able to move. Ban, terrified, fell to the ground and backed away, shouting loudly. His face was twisted with fear and disbelief. What? Why is this happening? Why? He leaned against a large pile of firewood, looking at the numerous bodies lying around. He called out familiar names one by one, but was met only with deadly silence. Partel and Kara had both died in agony without closing their eyes. Uncle Partel, Aunt Kara. His spirit shattered in panic. Ban couldn't think of anything, only knowing how to moan in pain. No. He kept repeating as if trying to wake up from a nightmare. No, no. What the hell is this? Ketharak had somehow appeared behind Ban and whispered softly into his ear. Ugh ha! Ban was immediately flung far away by him, his body bouncing up and down before crashing down like a ball. Finally, a tree root blocked the attack, and Ban leaned against the trunk, breathing heavily in pain. At this moment, Ketharak grabbed Linda's hair, dragging her roughly on the ground, while Linda seemed to have lost consciousness long ago. Hide carefully or the Aniclimax will appear. Ketharak stepped forward like a god of death, pulling the unconscious Linda along. Have you all hidden yet? Then I will come. Ban hung his head, resting against the tree trunk, trembling as he asked, Who are you? Why are you doing this to us? Ketharak responded indifferently, You don't need to know much. I have business with her. Ketharak mocked Ban. The Aniclimax seal you created is needed by someone who seeks the ultimate destruction that seal holds. And because it's troublesome, if there were still survivors, I would have already wiped out all the neighboring villages completely and thoroughly. When he realized he was the cause of everything, Ban could only bow his head and glare. Ketharak was quite honest when he said, I have no personal grudge against you, but I am in a position where I must follow orders. He raised his hand, and hands of death energy immediately surged forward to trap him in danger. Ketharak sneered, So don't blame me. A malicious curve twisted his lips. This is a special, extra-dimensional prison prepared for you by that one. Here, whether 1,000 or 10,000 years pass, time means nothing. When the time comes, I will release you, so be obedient and wait. Although no one knows when it will arrive, at this point, Ketharak used magic to push Ban away. Despite that, his eyes never stopped looking toward Lena. In the hallucination, Ban saw her lips moving. Lena seemed to be mouthing what might have been her final words. Finally, her mouth closed completely, and from then on, she could never open it again. Even as the magic wrapped around Ban's body, his arms still reached out toward her. When only one eye remained, Ban cried. Very quickly, he was imprisoned inside a magical sphere created by Ketharak. Inside the sphere was another world, a place flooded with red like a hellish prison confining him. Ban lay on a rock, his heart full of countless questions about the true power of destruction. I wanted to believe it wasn't all caused by a single seal, but from the start, there was no escape. Ban's hateful gaze appeared. My existence, in the end, only brought destruction and death. From the moment I was born, there was no way to escape this cursed fate. Ban lay in pain on the ground. If I had accepted it a bit sooner, would the two uncles and Linda still be alive? His frail body began to twitch slightly, just once, just one time. Could it really not be different? I once thought maybe I could live a normal life and so that was why they died. Suddenly, tens of thousands of hands reached out towards Ban, causing him distorted thoughts. I understand now, my vain hopes, my excessive greed, killed them all. Next, tens of thousands of apologies echoed inside his head, with stubbornness and madness completely overtaking his reason. Never forgive me. Then those hands disappeared, withdrawing to give way to the eternal red. After a while, the space became frighteningly silent. Ban kept his eyes wide open, endlessly blaming himself. If gods truly existed, then why did they grant only me such a cruel fate? No, what's the point of talking about gods now? I'm so tired. I'm utterly exhausted. His reason gradually fell into a deep silent pit, like a bottomless abyss continuously eroding Ban's will to live. I don't want to live anymore. Just let me die. To die peacefully. At this point, Ban abandoned fate, resignedly closing his eyes and waiting for death. In his conscious world, Linda appeared again and comforted him. It's not your fault. It turned out the words she had murmured before falling into eternal sleep were, I love you, Ban, forever. With a shocked expression, Ban immediately opened his eyes. He slowly sat up and kept shouting inside his head. No, Linda, all of this is my fault. Everything, absolutely everything happened because of me. Then another question emerged in Ban's mind. So what? The peace is over, who decides that? Don't joke with me, what right do I have? Ban clutched his head, completely losing his mind as he screamed like a wild beast. Who was I to say anything? It was all over. He was like a schizophrenic, disgusted with his own existence yet unable to stop crying out. You cannot die now, you still have things to do. Ban still screamed desperately into his hands, but deep down he admitted it was true. His screams caught in his throat, yet the wailing of anguish still simmered loudly in his brain. At this very moment, he had completely transformed into a demon driven by an intense will to live. Ban understood clearly that the Azura seal would surely bring destruction. But so what? He shouted sternly. I don't care anymore. There is no destruction greater than this. Ban still remembered Ketharak's words, that there would be someone in need of the destructive power you possess. Then he shouted loudly, fine. I will show them with my own hands. Show them what kind of destruction I can bring. The smiles of the villagers and Linda's family appeared once again in Ban's mind. Everyone, just wait for me a little longer. Death, I will save that for after I take my revenge. Wanting to do that, he calmly stood up and slowly moved forward. But the demon would not let Ban go. Where are you going? Because of you, all this is your fault. However, he ignored them and kept encouraging himself. I must escape this damned spatial prison. The demon tried to chase and yelled, It's all your fault, die. Ban resolutely vowed that even if it took 1,000 or 10,000 years, he would seek revenge. All of his Azura power was erupting. That face looked more demonic than a demon. Ban had completely lost himself. So Ban plunged into battle against the demons. In the blink of an eye, 200 years had passed. But that bloody battle continued without end. And even after going through 400 years, or 600 years, the demons kept multiplying, and Ban never once knelt. The destined young man had to tread the path of Azura, dancing in destruction. The fused demon opened its black mouth and roared, as if it could devour human lust. But Ban was no longer an ordinary human. Amid that endless battle for survival through day and night, month and year, the true power of Azura had not yet appeared, but he still did not know. The genuine hidden power lay within the Azura seal. Not long after 999 years passed, everything had changed, yet their battle remained the same. The demon swung its arm and struck, sending Ban flying dozens of meters. Yet he simply stood back up without fear, sinking in blood amid the swamp of despair. Endless pain poured down upon him, but the fire of revenge burning in his heart seemed never to be extinguished, still blazing fiercely. Ban's small human form was no more than a mosquito before the painful blow from the demon. Harsh sounds rang out in this space of punishing agony. He clenched his fist, each drop of dark hot blood dripping onto the ground. But no matter how strong the demon was, you were still fighting back fiercely. Dust and smoke had engulfed this place as well, but everyone had to admit one thing: your hatred would never die. Finally, when your body was gradually exhausted, he collapsed onto it. Next, in the dream, he saw the familiar mountains and forests while murmuring to himself, "My dream." He saw Linda sitting next to him saying, "First, marry me and become my wife. My parents will become your father-in-law and mother-in-law, right?" Then nothing more was needed, just one boy and one girl. She slowly stood up, brushing off the grass from her dress, so that whenever he returned, she could smile happily. Linda stood in the spring breeze fragrant with flowers, but her smile was even more radiant than the morning light. There would be a fence called family waiting for him. That beautiful smile was your entire life, the most precious treasure you ever had. That is my dream. The dream lasted only a moment. In the end, the harsh truth returned to you from the young man. The true destructive power was unleashed, revealing the smile of a crazed clown. His body was being controlled by magic emanating from the Atula seal on your person. Following that, thousands of demon faces with various expressions appeared from his hair. After a while, a large pillar of fire erupted from where he stood. Your body had changed. He looked at the changed hand and asked, "So this is the true power of destruction." Azura seal, when empowered by the god of destruction, Azura summons 666 weapons, infused with destructive power. Though possessing this power, Ban still felt regretful, wishing it had been awakened that very day. Speaking of which, he suddenly stopped, stomping firmly on the ground. Then Ban attacked the giant demon and shouted that no one had to die. His face was full of killing intent. Indeed, the demon could only stare down with its glaring red eyes. That demon possessed no threat to Ban anymore, so it was being battered mercilessly by him. Its body was sent flying like an arrow shot from a bow. Its heavy body crashed into the mountain behind with a deafening noise. But that was not all. Ban's body was twisted under the control of the Azura seal. Finally, he stood firm again and dashed forward swiftly. At that moment, Ban received his first weapon, the Destruction Fist, a pair of gloves with particle-based destructive power, whose force scales with the wielder's spiritual energy. Seizing the moment, he lunged forward, stepping onto the demon's head. That fierce power forced the demon to grit its teeth and endure. An intense explosion erupted, the heat surging as if to destroy everything, like a fire burning through this imprisoning dungeon. At the same time, in the peaceful world outside, there was a stream near a forest. A man was begging a gang of robbers who were intent on taking his life, pleading, begging, "Please spare me. I really have no money." The man shouted loudly, "So it turns out you have no money. I will be generous then. I only need to take a few internal organs for replacement." At that moment, Ban suddenly appeared behind the man and said, "I just want to ask you one thing." He stood there as if he hadn't noticed the dangerous situation and asked, "What year is it now?" The man replied confusedly, "What the hell are you talking about?" Raymond, not knowing whether he was alive or dead, reached out to pat his head and said, "You're really a strange young man. So what if it's the year 1500? Seeing him like that, the man became even more irritated. While Ban was still murmuring, "Only 5 years have passed?" Maris struck him with a hammer, but the hammer shattered into many pieces. Seeing this, Maris cried out in terror. "Huh!" Not only him, even Raymond couldn't help but exclaim in surprise, "Huh!" Ban cast a cold, contemptuous look toward them. Then, without any mercy, he used his supernatural strength to deliver each of them a hook punch to the jaw. Ban exhaled deeply, and a thick black death aura swirled around the corners of his mouth. All their weapons shattered the moment they came into contact with Ban's body. Next, he once again landed a punch on each of them. Finally, 2 corpses lying in a pool of blood appeared before Ban's eyes. Maris saw this scene and his mouth fell open in utter terror. Meanwhile, he casually raised his voice to ask the guy, "Hey bastard," causing Maris to startle with a chill down his spine. Ban slowly turned his head back, still with that sticky blood on his face, and demanded, "I want to ask something." On the continent of Aten, a map appeared, showing that since ancient times, this land has been shaped by the power of glyph magic. The map slowly zoomed in, revealing countless kingdoms that rose and fell here. Among them, a red-marked region appeared, indicating a nation born as the foremost dynasty in Aten's history. In the kingdom of Zoe, with overwhelming military strength, it has ruled as the overlord of the continent for generations. Ban showed the drawing of Ketharak and asked him, "So you mean that the clothes of that man are the exclusive robes of the royal mages of Zoe, and you saw them with your own eyes?" Maris dared not utter a single lie. "Of course, sir. How could I possibly fabricate such a grave matter?" Currently, he was hung upside down from a tree, and Ban ordered the prisoner to tell him every detail. Maris quickly responded, "Yes, sir." The man in red sat facing someone. It seemed that about 5 years ago, a mercenary named Kajarak had a private deal with the owner of our mountain camp, the great leader Deul. He said a major client had come looking to arrange a meeting, mentioning an important operation and scheduled a rendezvous with us. At that time, Kajarak was thinking, it's nothing big, just finding someone and wiping out a few villages. I'll pay handsomely. So, how about it, you'll do it, right? He continued, calling it important, but it turned out to be a mage from the kingdom of Zoe. From our position, we had no reason to refuse, so we immediately agreed. A desolate scene appeared, the city surrounded by flames. After all, we are mountain bandits. Wasn't it too easy? We cleaned up so thoroughly that there was no trace left. Bodies piled on top of each other, countless corpses decayed beyond recognition. Burning them all was truly troublesome. Returning to Maris, who was still hanging upside down, when the task was finished, that damned purple-haired mage paid neatly and left. Ban, curious, asked Maris if among those bodies there was a short-haired, orange-haired girl. He immediately confirmed that there was. Only one, so she stood out. You seriously asked if he had also burned that body, didn't you? Marcus had to tell the truth, yes, unfortunately. Her face was so beautiful. Selling her as a slave would surely bring a fortune. At this point, the image of Linda's family of 3 appeared in Ban's mind. And then, unable to control his anger, he threw a punch at him and shouted, "How do you know that?" At Deul mountain camp, Harrow was ordering the slaves, saying, "If you don't want your legs broken, get out here and work quickly." When they received some new slaves, a blond man excitedly said, "These ones are fresh this time." The dark green-haired man added, "That means they resisted fiercely. A bunch of filthy trash." The long-haired man joined in laughing. "The stronger the slave, the higher the price." There were 2 guards outside. Hearing the knocking outside, he immediately opened a small door, and then Daniel said to him, "Hey, I've brought the wine. Hurry and open the door." Hearing this, Cody asked, "How long have you guys been gone?" As soon as he finished speaking, Ban took the initiative to land a really strong punch. "That's some good wine." The punch destroyed both the man and the door. Immediately after, Harry swung his hammer at him. The man shouted loudly, "Hey, who sent you here, you bastard?" But Ban moved incredibly fast, managing to dodge Harry's hammer. Taking advantage of the enemy's distraction, he wounded the man. Before delivering the decisive blow, Ban loudly told him to shut up. Having said that, an extremely strong punch made everything explode. Seeing this, the guards all asked in surprise, "What is that?" While Hugo frowned and said, "Huh." Ban dragged Harry's body with one hand and held Cody's severed head with the other, walking shamelessly toward them, making the entire group feel unbelievably shocked. He just said, "Look at you clowns, playing thief, and you've gathered quite a crowd." Ban boldly asked, "Leader, where are you? I want to talk to him." After saying that, Ban threw the 2 items in his hands down in front of them. In the next second, he confidently said, "I have a few questions to ask." That group viewed Ban as reckless, so they mocked him, the kid apparently fearless. A thug continued, "Do you know where this is?" At that moment, a voice full of authority rang out, causing everyone to step back. Upon seeing the person, the thug confidently said, "Deul, the great leader, let us handle this." However, he disagreed and scolded his men. "Fools, get lost. You're all just asking for death." Great leader Deul explained that he was a mage born with a seal, just like me, and told them to back off. Finally, Deul, the master of this mountain camp, turned his gaze to Ban and said, "So, what business do you have with me?" The young mage straightforwardly got to the point. 5 years ago, a mage from the Zoe kingdom hired you, didn't they? A wretched mercenary named Kajarak arranged that meeting. He showed surprise and asked Ban, "Oh, so you dug that much information from my subordinates? What do you plan to do now?" Pointing directly at Deul, he ordered, "Tell me where Kajarak is, and I will spare all of you." He pretended to comply with Ban, saying, "Oh, of course I will tell you, yes, I'll tell you." At that moment, a clawed hand moved toward the table. Then Deul quickly moved his foot and shouted, "Your body!" Fortunately, Ban managed to withstand this attack. though he was still slammed far away by the opponent. Deul threatened greedily. But if you truly want Ban's mercy, you should hide that deadly magic of yours first. Deul's angry face appeared. You will die here today, and it's you. On the other hand, the seal on his body is a blade-enhancing seal that strengthens the whole body with sharp blades. Currently, Deul's body has been enhanced entirely with sharp blades. In the midst of the rubble, Ban spoke up, apparently saying that talking to you is truly useless. Ban asked with bloodshot eyes, "Is that right?" When it was your turn to use the Azura seal, Deul was still watching every movement of Ban. Seeing you move so fast to reach his position, Deul was so astonished it was hard to understand. On the other hand, because the enemy was too strong, Ban used Destruction Fist. You successfully made him cough up blood, but Deul counterattacked and replied that even though young, a sorcerer is still a sorcerer. Thus, Ban was injured and screamed in pain. This still did not satisfy him, and Deul gritted his teeth angrily and said, "You!" The bastard prepared his punch again, and as he struck you, Deul shouted, "Die!" He used his power on Ban's body, you bastard. A whirl of Deul's power surged toward you. You will not dodge this one. That whirl of power grew stronger and stronger. Although you are young, a sorcerer is still a sorcerer. Now I will no longer hold back. Deul's power crashed into you and shattered. Let's see how you withstand when your body is torn apart in agony. Ban's red power surged through the forest of Deul's strength. Yet he continued speaking, saying, "You won't be able to move a single step." However, reality disappointed Deul, because those blades didn't pierce Ban's body at all. He was walking through a rain of blades with ease, causing the man to panic and shout, "Well, what is this?" Ban's power was invading back into Deul, who was startled, asking how he could still move. Slowly, that power spread wider. "Don't you feel any pain? Brat, don't make me laugh." Only then did Ban truly enhance himself under the state of the Azura seal and replied, "This petty pain." Ban appeared with blazing red strength, speaking with disdain, not nearly worthy to be called pain. Ban's current form made Deul laugh with delight, saying, "Very well, brat." He quickly retracted all of his blades. Deul's arm suddenly grew many times larger. When he thought his power was sufficient, he confidently challenged, "Let's see if you can withstand this move." Once again, his strength surged toward Ban. "At worst, your flesh will be torn and your nerves cut." Ban turned to taunt, truly pathetic. Ban clenched his fist, saying, "The depth of your suffering is shallow to the point of ridicule, compared to the abyss that I am trapped within." Twisted, demonic faces appeared, deep and foreboding. He used Destruction Fist again. He shouted out much more. Both were exchanging blows with their fists. At first, they were evenly matched. 1 second later, Deul was gradually losing strength. That was when Ban's fist pierced through his body. He moved at the speed of a lightning bolt, with his power cutting through an entire wide forest. Finally, he returned to his original form and stopped. Under the peaceful sky, Ban let out a relieved breath. He turned to Deul's henchmen and said, "So then." Ban slowly faced them, his eyes blazing red. "Let's continue." No one present dared to reply. Quickly, the sun had set behind the mountains. Then all the henchmen shared the same fate as Deul. Still, Ban decided to keep one alive to talk to. At the moment, Hanter was also coughing up blood. Sitting atop the mound of corpses, he gently asked the man, "So Kajurak is currently in the Nordia kingdom?" Hanter dared not lie. Yes, absolutely right." Hearing this, he replied, "All right then." The man, kneeling on the ground and trembling, asked again, "Will you let me live as you promised?" Ban stared blankly and answered, "I promised." Hanter said in panic, "Is that so? But just now you." Ban suddenly burst out laughing. Just kidding. The man immediately joined in. "Of course, then I'll be going," he said. And with that, Ban punched Hanter. As he fell, Ban calmly said, "Regarding sparing your life, that was actually just a joke." His face turned more menacing. "What's there to laugh about now?" Afterward, Ban muttered to himself as he walked away, "Honestly, I really want to storm into the Zoe Kingdom right now, but I can't act solely based on the testimony of a mountain bandit." Ban looked up. "Even if it takes time, I will track down this Kajurak myself and see the truth with my own eyes. Ban's eyes were deep and profound, so Linda, uncle and aunt, please wait for me a little longer. Many arms connected appeared. Consider this a small gift I leave behind, as my artistic skill is still limited. All the people in the mountain camp have been merged into a very tall pillar. Even if you are not very impressed, please accept it. He was holding a torch in his hand in front of bodies piled on top of each other. Before striking the fire, Ban said that his revenge had only just begun. As soon as he finished speaking, he threw the torch away. When the flames flared up, Ban calmly turned his head and walked away. And his next plan, the first stop, the Kingdom of Nordia. In the Kingdom of Nordia, in Guild Street, currently this street has very few passers-by. 1 second later, someone was punched in the face by Ban. After being bruised from the blow, he knelt down groaning. He hesitated and said, Anna Dalton, that woman, she knows already. Before he could finish speaking, Ban interrupted. I told you from the start, we should have tried talking. Anyway, thank you for the information. Then he calmly stepped over the bodies lying on the street, followed by the groans of a few survivors. On the way, Ban kept thinking, we have to find her trail from the next contact. We can't afford to waste a single moment in this situation. Nothing guarantees that what happened yesterday won't happen again. 1 day before, the power within Ban's body suddenly flared up violently, making him uncomfortable and causing him to complain incessantly. At the same time, Ban silently thought, Mana was losing control rapidly. Previously, even while confined, there had been no signs of disorder. From his understanding, mana are invisible particles, originally unknown to the naked eye, spreading throughout the universe. 3 different power sources stood side by side. The ones who absorbed the drifting mana script into their bodies and demonstrated their magical abilities through it. The arms worked together on a glowing orb called Wizards by the World. In other words, the body of a wizard is a vessel containing mana. Therefore, if the mana inside loses control, thinking of this, he panicked and shouted, he will die. His body will explode along with the mana. Mana must be sealed immediately. Otherwise, the outburst will destroy him. At this moment, his arm was trying to contract, but mana kept overflowing from Ban's body. A second later, a corner of the forest was bathed in the red color of mana. Took a while before it finally stopped. Ban collapsed from exhaustion due to this mana source. He hesitated before saying, this is truly dangerous. Since I have arrived in another country, Ban cut his hair because it was burnt and dressed more neatly, silently thinking, most of my mana is now sealed. I can only use a little bit if I dare to use any more. Ban bit his hand and frowned, thinking, this time it's not just the hair that's burnt. To safely use the sealed mana, I must first find the cause of its sudden outburst. Ban stood in front of someone, still deep in thought. Until then, I have no choice but to temporarily use a small amount, even if it's inconvenient. On the way, you accidentally bumped into a tall man who said, hey, move aside. I can't get through. Charlotte Jenny, 18 years old, replied loudly, Anna Dalton is here, turn back. You shouted back. Oh, really? You should have said so from the start. Your face turned dangerous again, you have come to the right place. After saying that, Ban easily landed a punch on the man, making the scoundrel both bleed from his nose and lose some teeth. When he fell to the ground, screaming in pain, Ban calmly walked away and said, sorry, let me rest for a bit. Then you entered the hot spring area. Upon seeing you, everyone was surprised. Jenny was questioned by those around her. Who are you? I said no guests today. A guest behind suddenly spoke up. Jenny, what are you doing? Weren't you about to go out? Ban calmly waved his hand in front of them and said, I'm looking for a mercenary named Kajurak. I heard someone here knows him. The secret guest immediately warned him. How dare you casually mention the name Kajurak? Kid, if you're not careful, you'll die before you can even scream. Another guest joined in the fun. Looking at your reaction, you must have found him already. Tell me everything. The secret guest laughed loudly and replied, he's a madman. A strange girl soaking in hot water said, tear that brat's mouth open and drag him here. This person was none other than Anna Dalton, the #1 information dealer in the black market of the Kingdom of Nordia. Following her orders, all 3 answered in unison, yes. Within seconds, their bodies began to enhance. Hair sprouted on their heads, their hands grew much larger, their legs were also swelling, and finally, their heads transformed into wolves. All three had become five-eyed werewolves and were growling fiercely. Very quickly, they charged towards Ban. Cornered and forced into action, you had to strike first. I originally wanted to resolve this through dialogue. Ban punched a werewolf as soon as he approached, but each time, his punch was too powerful for the werewolf to resist. And when the werewolf flew back, you angrily shouted, "It's not that easy." Ban glanced sideways in surprise. You didn't notice the second werewolf had arrived, but Ban managed to dodge to the side in time. Ban turned and ran away from the simultaneous attacks of the two werewolves. He landed hard, kicking up dust in all directions. At this point, Ban looked at his opponents with bullet-shaped eyes. Seeing this look in your eyes, the two werewolves were a bit frightened and dared not take action for the moment. Since they didn't move, Ban actively rushed towards them. You were moving at an extremely fast speed, and immediately after, Ban swung a punch at the werewolves. The energy emitted passed directly through both of them at the same time, and incidentally left a large hole in the wall. After acting, Ban looked straight ahead. Seeing the large hole left on the school wall, you loudly said, "So what do we do now?" Ban stepped forward gravely and asked, "Are you really starting to think about negotiating with death?" At this point, Anna said, "He's not just a kid, he's a mage, but it's useless anyway. Kajarak is no longer here." Ban immediately asked, "Where did he go?" She loudly gave you a condition. "Hey, brat, I'm just an information broker. No money means no information." Ban quickly asked the price. Your attitude made Anna somewhat suspicious. "Oh, since when did you become so reasonable?" While she was dressing, Ban hurriedly clarified, "There must be some misunderstanding. I'm not a murderer. I only killed because they attacked first. If you provide the information, I'm willing to pay a fair price." Being a businessperson, Anna was very straightforward. Personal information about Kajarak and his current location costs 10,000 gold in total. That's a fair price for this information. Ban didn't hide it either. "I don't have that much." At this point, she mocked the opponent, revealing that he was truly insane, not simply misunderstood. At this moment, you could only respond that you didn't expect it to cost so much. Anna said calmly, "If you don't have money, then there won't be any information for you either." Ban turned and spoke while walking, "So just pay and wait." This made her very curious. Was there really a place where the money would come from? Anna crossed her arms and looked at Ban, asking, "But what exactly do you want from Kajarak? Your eyes look so terrifying. Could it be that Kajarak killed your family?" Upon hearing this, Ban, who was about to open the door, suddenly paused. Then Ban reminded Anna, "Mind your own business." Ban's eyes darkened again. "Before I tear your mouth apart." Having said that, he opened the door to leave and casually closed it behind him. She was stunned and replied, "Oh, you sure have some guts." Nordia Kingdom, Mercenary Street. Ban found a shop and registered there. Afterwards, the owner informed him that his mercenary registration was complete. Ban asked, "When do I start taking jobs?" He began to explain that mercenary assignments come fairly quickly but are usually given to veterans, so new mercenaries must wait. After hearing this, Ban could only say, "I see, I understand now." He lowered his head in frustration, thinking to himself that it would probably take longer than he expected. But that was fine. After all, he needed a way to earn money. His eyes became menacing. "If necessary, I once thought about intimidating that woman to extract information." Anna's body appeared eerie. Anna Dalton was no ordinary person, and making more enemies would bring little benefit. Ban thought about it. "Kara also told me I should earn money through proper work. By coincidence, a girl came to hire someone. I wanted to take on mercenary work, preferably for inexperienced new soldiers." Suddenly, I heard a girl's voice, so Ban glanced at her. The employer excitedly said, "Perfect. A new soldier just registered right next to you." The girl asked in surprise, "Right next to me?" She looked at Ban and asked, "You?" The young man quietly admitted, "Yes, I just registered." The girl quickly stated her requirement. "Good. My task is simple, just protect my back for one day." Then she finally took off her hood, revealing that her name was Leon Artie, 18 years old. This strange request shocked both Ban and Lon. After a while, he shouted angrily, "This girl is crazy." Meanwhile, the man refused. "If you want that kind of job, go to the red light district." Leon immediately retorted, "No, you misunderstood." Despite her raising her voice, she said, "I'm hiring a bodyguard." And Lon said, "That's right." But Ban still left. Still, Leon tried to persuade him, "Why don't you listen to the payment first, then decide?" Ban replied, "I don't want a crazy employer." A few seconds later, Pitball stepped forward and said, "Hey, I'll take the job. How much is the pay?" She immediately quoted a price of 10,000 gold. Hearing that, the group suddenly stopped while Leon objected, "Sorry, but famous veterans like you won't be accepted. I was planning to assign it to the new recruits, but they can't handle it." He angrily countered, "No way, I'm even better than those new recruits." Pitball even actively grabbed her hand, causing the other party to shout, "Let go, I said no." He began blaming the other, "You're a stubborn girl, you should be grateful that I'm helping." Finally, the group decided to help Leon. "Hey, Pitball, let go of her hand." He arrogantly replied, "What?" "You," irritably repeated once more. "Take your hands off my precious owner, you filthy scoundrel." From deep within the forest came a plaintive cry, "Please, at least spare my son." Currently, a band of robbers is rampant here. They kill anyone they meet and also loot, but there's nothing valuable in ordinary homes. However, one of them had a cruel idea. "Although harvesting organs is profitable, what should we do?" "Do as we please." Oh, and more importantly, regarding yesterday's demand, they were also whispering among themselves, concerning the kidnapping of Leon's young lady, right? They immediately confirmed, "Yes, exactly." Then one of them gave orders. "Choose the 3 best men and have them wait for instructions." And then he said, "Hang this up and move out immediately." Amid screams, Merkel calmly hung the corpse like a puppet. Seeing that, the subordinate loudly responded, "Yes, I will make them wait right now, no wait." While he still didn't understand what was happening, he caused the subordinate's body to slowly rise off the ground. He asked fearfully, "Sir, what's going on? Have I done something wrong?" Merkel whispered softly, "It's not like that," he continued. "Just someone like this isn't very satisfying." He laughed heartily, his mouth full of sharp iron spikes. "If I were to dissect you like that and hand you over right beside me, it would be very interesting." No sooner had he finished speaking than the subordinate's screams echoed throughout the forest. At the same time, Ban was leisurely enjoying his meal. Meanwhile, Leon closed his eyes and focused on thinking. A second later, she angrily slammed the table, an action that unfortunately drew the attention of another table. He asked in surprise, "Is the food not to your taste?" But Leon snapped, "How can I possibly swallow anything in this situation?" And when she saw Ban making Pitball her chair, she loudly scolded, "Don't use people as chairs," leaving him puzzled by Leon's current attitude. On the other hand, Ban made an interesting suggestion. "Don't tell me you want to try sitting on it?" she retorted irritably. "I don't need that. Hurry up and untie me." In Leon's mind, he thought, he's a bit violent, but at that moment, she remembered the scene when Ban fought with Pitball. He completely ignored others trying to stop him, kicking the guy while shouting, "Don't harm my precious master, understand?" Meanwhile, Pitball could only plead, "Sorry, I'm sorry, stop, I'm dying." Thinking of this, Leon told himself, he is both skilled and trustworthy, and has no bad experience. Exactly the type of mercenary I need. A few seconds later, Ban spared him. What a pity. She warned him not to treat humans like objects. Immediately after, Ban brought up an important matter. "Then let's continue discussing the job. You hired me to escort you? But exactly how far do you need me to escort you?" The scene displayed a map with directions. "We only need to reach the border of the kingdom of Awana. Then we will cross the forest, taking just 1 day to arrive." Ban frowned, asking why it would cost 10,000 gold for each escort trip. "I have a bad feeling, as if I'm involved in something extremely dangerous." Saying this, his gaze became serious, like a noble descendant being hunted or a fugitive on the run. "Not that he doubted your identity, but it's safer to be cautious." Ban even took the initiative to sit next to her, making Leon embarrassed as he replied, "I'm just someone with a bit of wealth. My father spoils me too much." Knowing he was lying, he leaned his face very close to hers, causing Leon to break out in a sweat from fear. In the next moment, she threatened, If you doubt me so much, I will hire someone else. Hearing that, Ban hurried back to his place, pretending to be calm while sipping tea and asking, "Suspicious? How could I dare be so disrespectful?" Leon began silently scolding Ban. That damned brat. Finally, she made a suggestion. "So when should we set off?" Ban replied excitedly, "Then let's go right now, the sooner the better for me." Leon looked surprised and asked again, "Right now?" He put on a serious face and said, "I cannot waste the precious time of our guests." So she had no choice but to agree with Ban's decision. Very well then, the Gaseoso mountain range, the two of them have finally arrived here. And since they had traveled a long way, Leon wanted to take a rest. "I think we've reached the halfway point." But Ban did not understand and merely nodded absent-mindedly. Inwardly, Leon was calculating. Everything is still fine. If this continues, we will arrive safely. Could it be that hiring mercenaries was a waste? Thinking this, he suddenly stopped her. "Wait," hearing that, Leon became a little tense. She then asked Ban, "Is something wrong?" He quickly signaled Leon to lower his voice. Ban closed his eyes and thought to himself, "I can sense it." He noticed someone moving at an extremely fast speed. Moreover, Ban made another discovery and told himself it really is mana rushing here. A few figures were rushing at high speed, 3 or maybe 4. Merkel's face appeared, and Ban thought again. Among them there's one particularly notable guy. "You have found Merkel," he told himself, "the most dangerous one." And that guy said with amusement, "Spying is a bad habit." Ban was surprised when Merkel quickly appeared in front of him, and when the man launched his attack, Ban swiftly leapt high into the air. Merkel gave orders. She belonged to the Leon family. Capture her alive at all costs. Merkel's men responded, "Understood," and quickly pursued the two. Then Leon anxiously asked Ban, "What the hell is this?" He could only say, "This is just a threat. The real thing is probably still to come." Before he could finish speaking, Merkel's men had already arrived. Ban immediately turned to look at the approaching figures. All three were carrying paired swords and flew straight toward him. As two of them thrust their swords at Ban, he quickly caught the blades. Meanwhile, the third man swiftly ran toward Leon, which made Ban extremely worried. In a matter of seconds, Ban sent the two attackers flying. Just as the third man reached her, Ban kicked him forcefully. Caught off guard by the sudden kick, the third man was terrified. Seeing their comrade fall, the other two turned to attack, but Ban dodged in time. He swiftly spun around, grabbed Leon and dashed away. Ban ran to the base of a tree and laughed loudly. While activating a seal, Ban instructed Leon, "Hey, from now on." Ban's serious face appeared. He exuded reliability and said, "You must stay behind me." She awkwardly agreed. Yes, yes. Before dealing with them, he asked about their background. "What are you doing here? Are you also bandits?" One man pointed his sword at Ban and replied, "Just leave that woman behind and quietly withdraw. We will let you pass." You turned to joke with him, offering 10,000 gold, saying you would leave, but the other guy kept cursing, calling you a fool. With no other way to negotiate, both sides continued to clash. Those two were no match for Ban, and one by one they were knocked out by him. Ban fought relentlessly, leaving the opponents disoriented. He combined both his legs and hands. Ban's eyes flashed with an unwavering determination. However, the other two stubbornly kept fighting. At this moment, you stepped back a few paces, an action that caused the subordinates to underestimate Ban, thinking he's just a mage and overly worried for nothing, just a kid after all. This remark caught you off guard. Huh. Next, Ban activated the destruction fist to protect me, but the others continued to mock you, saying they worried for nothing. Ban scowled and said, "I thought you were that dumb." A second later, he stabbed into your body with a strike, immediately scattering the others, and you prepared your second punch. Very quickly, Logan's comrade had to take the hit. Ban clenched his fist tightly. The power of this punch was no simple matter. Anything struck by it shattered into 1,000 pieces. From afar, one could see just a small spark, but approaching closer revealed a terrifying explosion. After the battle ended, only 2 pairs of shoes and blood stains remained on the ground. The bodies had turned to dust. Leon was so frightened he didn't dare utter a word, while Ban simply scolded lightly, calling them useless. She was surprised, thinking silently, "He's even younger than me. How could he do that?" If father saw this scene, Leon looked at Ban and thought that he was probably both shocked and delighted. Suddenly, a voice rang out, startling Ban a little. Wizards born with the imprint technique can sense each other's mana, and the scale corresponds to the wizard's actual power. He hurriedly replied, I thought you had run away. Deep inside, he was secretly relieved. The last one had finally appeared. Merkel strode forward arrogantly and spoke to Ban. He still looked just like a kid, yet his mana was on par with mine. First, I should dissect you. Merkel's mouth twisted into a sinister smile. A wizard of your level must have excellent internal organs. It was then that information about him was revealed. The mad dissecting man Merkel, leader of the Merkel gang, a criminal organization responsible for all sorts of crimes such as murder, kidnapping, and human trafficking. Merkel ordered him. But if you obediently hand over that woman, I will dissect you painlessly. Without a second thought, Ban replied, Forget it. He attacked while threatening, so you simply must die. Watching the attack style, Ban muttered, Guessed. Leon anxiously shouted, What is it? At the same time, Ban also exposed Leon's lie about you being the daughter of a common merchant, saying, That was a falsehood, wasn't it? She hesitated and explained, Actually, before Leon could finish speaking, he grabbed her shirt and said, Don't make excuses. I had no intention of listening anyway. While Leon still didn't understand what was happening, Ban already used her as a human shield. Leon had no strength to resist and could only glare straight ahead. 1 second later, she was crying and scolding, You bastard. Seeing Leon cry, Merkel was startled and responded, Huh. Ban's expression remained ice-cold, but the power still directed itself toward Ban and Leon. Leon saw the large crevice in the ground and shouted in panic. Then both she and Merkel shouted in unison, I almost died. You madman. He even asked, Aren't you supposed to be escorting that woman? Leon added, That's right, you madman. I am your master. Meanwhile, Ban thought of how Merkel had disrupted his move earlier and silently mused that to be able to redirect thousands of people to dodge in that instant, he must be a mage with a very high mana manipulation skill. His goal was not to kill my master but to capture her alive. Seeing Ban not respond to his words, Leon spoke up, Hey, are you listening to me, you madman? He ignored her and kept thinking, You dare try to kidnap my master? Not a chance. Thinking that, Ban said to Leon, For now, I will overlook your lie, master. But she angrily shouted, You're trying to kill someone as if nothing is happening. At this moment, he deliberately sat down beside the other person and whispered a threat, Don't argue. I'll throw you away right now. Land correctly and hide quietly like a dead mouse. Understand? Leon quickly pleaded. Huh? What do you mean? Don't throw me. He grabbed her by the nape and said, Don't be tense, you won't die. Ban dragged Leon away, causing her to loudly scold Leon. Hey you! Immediately afterwards, he threw his opponent high into the sky, causing Leon to scream in fear. Seeing this, Merkel spoke up, asking, Where do you think you're running off to? After saying that, he quickly jumped toward him. At that moment, Ban grabbed the enemy's leg and said, Where do you think you're going? Ban's grip was extremely strong, preventing Merkel from escaping. Ban only held onto his foot, then immediately threw Moko down to the ground. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Ban swiftly ran toward him. In the next second, he punched Moko again. By the time he landed, he had left a mark on the ground. Merkel sneered and laughed, saying, Well done, while Ban felt puzzled, thinking, Clearly I hit him with all my strength. Ban frowned, sensing that something was holding him back. He began to threaten Ban, saying, I'll rip out your insides first before going after that woman. At the same time, Ban was thinking about the enemy's seal. Merkel's seal was precisely. He looked at his clawed hand and said, Truly exciting. Thanks to that, Ban was able to see the drawing on the hand and understand his seal, a rune that controls using mana to manipulate the physical phenomena of objects. Very quickly, when Merkel launched an attack, the controlling force immediately emitted like a shockwave. Fortunately, Ban dodged in time. Powerful leap. Seeing this, he quickly moved in for close combat against him. Currently, the close combat strength was wrapped in a layer of controlling waves. Ban was completely on the defensive, being pushed backward. Merkel still fully exploited the power of his seal. After a moment, he suddenly resisted, startling the man. Ban decided to use the Azura seal to reverse the situation. Accompanied by a destructive palm strike, he then punched his opponent fiercely, but there was a protective barrier at Merkel's position. At this point, Ban realized the strong defensive capability of the control shield, and he quickly jumped backward. Ban glanced at the man and silently acknowledged that it was indeed a troublesome seal. Merkel continued to mock him, saying it was futile. Though you and I may have similar amounts of mana, our control abilities are on completely different levels. If you agree to cooperate with me now, I will accept you. I don't know how much that woman hired you for, but if you work with me, you could earn multiple times that amount, he tempted Ban. So Ban honestly replied, 10,000 gold. That is the price I received from her. Suddenly, Merkel laughed and said, 10,000? Just robbing 2 households would cover that amount. The sum is too small for your abilities. Hearing this, Ban hesitated and said, robbing civilians. He considered that act honorable and naturally replied, indeed, we make our living through assassination, extortion, robbery, human trafficking. Anything that brings money, we do it all. So, interested. Ban was silent for a few seconds to think. Then after a while he smiled. Mo thought Ban agreed, so she smiled in response. My intuition has never been wrong. You like it too, don't you? But he immediately retorted, no, I laugh because I am too foolish and angry at myself. He angrily asked Ban what. You didn't hesitate to reply, because it is a waste of words talking to scum like you. Decided, I will tear you apart until you have no shape left, Ban said with determined eyes. Thinking Ban refused his kindness, Merkel scolded, you bastard, I clearly gave you a chance. As soon as he finished speaking, you rushed forward, punching his body repeatedly. However, he remained confident, challenging Ban, what are you doing? You can't break my control waves. Not giving up, you continued to charge forward. As usual, Ban tried to use punches to break Merkel's protective shield. The punches came out continuously, but the shield remained steadfast. You still didn't give up and resolutely kept punching. Ban kept punching relentlessly. Seeing you waste your efforts, Merkel felt excited. A second later, he showed an expression of disbelief and amazement. When Ban successfully broke Mo's shield, then he shouted, how did you even cause the right arm of Mo to bleed? Riding the momentum, Ban struck directly at his body, finally causing Merkel to fall to the ground, raising a cloud of dust. Sitting on the ground, he angrily said, bastard, I am no longer interested in your innards. Ban calmly replied, this is the price for daring to despise my mercy. Immediately after, a column of mana energy was released, while Ban charged at Mo yelling, merging with the dust and disappearing. He did not sit still to die but quickly activated, controlling the blood bullet. At that moment, the forest was completely peaceful. Just 1 second later, a sudden light pierced through the forest. That light was the destructive power of Ban, spreading toward Merkel's location. Just at the brink of death, he looked confused and said, but clearly, you should have an amount of mana equivalent to mine. How could it be like this? Ban calmly listened to the nonsense from him and said, how could you possibly disrupt my control waves? He gently analyzed, you and I have comparable mana energy. Fool, right then, the demon created from Ban's mana immediately broke free and threatened Merkel. Upon seeing it, he was terrified, and Merkel had to admit, this colossal amount of mana, this monster. Upon hearing this, Ban replied, now you fall. Saying this, he was already very close to him. Then Ban calmly said, go to hell. His comrade activated the seal of Azura, the first weapon, the Fist Destroyer armor charged with mana that wields destructive power over all things, composed of particles, whose destructive force scales with stored mana. A few seconds later, Ban kept punching Merkel repeatedly. The final punch struck his stomach, and casually, he left a hole in Merkel's body. Afterwards, Ban bent down to pick up a rope from the ground. Then he tied it around his wrist. Ban left Merkel alone there, saying, it's over. As soon as he finished speaking, his body exploded. He did not look back but casually walked away. Ban murmured seriously, now we must go meet your master. I will crush him to death. Magic seals, from the power armed entirely with a blade, an icy power emerged, to bizarre powers, to abilities transcending space and time. The monster must endure the power of shattering, from the youthful strength that pierces mountains and soil, beyond the vast universe, challenging universal laws and surpassing the rules of superpowered physics. A grotesque face appeared, among countless magic seals, one type recorded in history as the worst seal because of the path the youth possessing the Tula seal has walked. On a new chapter in the continent's history, a ton began to awaken. Scene shifts to a majestic mountain range, below which lies a desolate forest. A footstep echoed upwards. "Indeed you are safe, master employer." Hearing this, Leon exclaimed, "Are you crazy? What were you thinking bursting out like that?" Suddenly, Ban poked his hand threateningly at her, startling Leon with fear. He said fiercely, "You're hiding something from me too, aren't you?" Leon responded, trembling, "Well." Then Ban continued, "Whatever, I wasn't really curious. I have escorted you here safely as promised, so hand over my payment." Hearing this, she quickly replied, "Oh, Leon handed Ban 10,000 gold coins. Taking it, Ban quickly turned away. "Then I'm off," he said. Seeing that, Leon shyly called out, "Ah, wait." Hearing this, Ban immediately turned back to see what was wrong. But seeing that expression, she ignored it. All right." Then Ban said, "I'm really leaving now." Watching his back gradually disappear, Leon silently thought, "I want to take him back to the clan, but I can't drag a young mercenary into the war." Leon turned away with regret, unfortunately, but there was no other way. First of all, Leon must quickly return to the clan. Scene shifts to the third manor of Anna Dalton, Kingdom of Nordia. 10,000 gold coins were thrown down to the ground. Anna was surprised and exclaimed, "I knew you were hiding something." Ban replied, "Then quickly tell me the promised information." Anna continued, "Fine, but I'll only take half the payment." He asked again, "What do you mean by that?" Anna explained, "I failed to track down the whereabouts of Lord Ketharak. He's too cautious." She closed her eyes and said, "Instead, I will tell you about someone who knows both the information and the whereabouts of Ketharak." Seeing this exchange condition was acceptable, Ban said, "All right, then tell me." Anna responded, "Have you ever heard of the mercenary group Tease?" Ban replied, "No, I haven't." She began to explain, Tease is a mercenary organization operating in countless criminal fields: assassination, kidnapping, human trafficking, counterespionage, espionage, sabotage, and information warfare. A face wearing glasses appeared in the night. The leader of Tease is none other than Lord Ketharak himself. About 5 years ago, Tease rose rapidly, and now their influence is enough to manipulate an entire small nation, growing strong enough to dominate all. Anna closed her eyes helplessly. Thus, tracing the Tease main base or Ketharak's whereabouts was almost impossible. Then she looked at Ban. "But I am not an easily dealt with woman. I have uncovered the identity and position of a steward within Tease." Then, she held up a photo of a mysterious man. The one with the long scar on his face is the identifying feature. A mysterious figure standing over tens of thousands of corpses. A ruthless assassin born with a hidden mark. He has never failed in an assassination. After listening, Ban started deducing that if he belonged to Tease, he might know where Ketharak was hiding. Then he asked, "So where is he now?" Anna answered, "According to the information I gathered." The scene shifted. At this moment, he was in the capital Valhelda, the kingdom of Bogra, the headquarters of the Merkel clan. Inside, bodies were piled in heaps. A fist appeared, eliminating them one by one. Everyone who saw him was terrified, screaming and running away. But it was never fast enough. They logged out right after those words. Seeing this, another who witnessed it shouted in fear, "Damn it." He turned around and asked, "Why are you doing this to us?" The assassin from the rumor said, "Just now, who knows, I'm only following orders." He wiped the blood away and continued, "Maybe because you failed the mission." He had a wound by his eye, lifting his other eye to look, assigned by Lord Ketharak. He explained that it was simply because no one had warned that he had a monstrous bodyguard like that. He pointed again at the assassin, "But because of you, we lost Lord Merkel." The assassin replied, "I also feel at fault, but we never thought Moko would be taken down by a rustic mercenary." Seeing him slowly approaching, he shouted, "All this massacre is just because of one failure. It's way too much." He laughed, coughing a bit, "Just consider it punishment. You and I are nothing but cheap assassins after all." He sobbed, "Punishment." His eyes distorted, horrifying. Then, as if something was about to happen, he said, "Then a group suddenly charged in from the east. The assassin taunted, "Each of you will die eventually." But the old man shouted, "Shut up." He raised his hand and shouted, "The one who dies here is you." A special move appeared, a contact seal that created giant hands from mana, freely controlled at will. The assassin was tied up. The group took advantage of it to rush forward and attack. But it wasn't going to be that easy. The assassin whispered, "Sorry in advance." A source of light radiated around the assassin. Then he quickly disappeared. They were all stunned, even the old man. They were confused and unaware that danger was coming from behind. Where had he gone? He was full of fear, sweat pouring like water. Turning around, a scream echoed amid the assassin's extreme calm. After that, there was no more after that. Droplets of red liquid splattered everywhere. At this moment, the moonlight outside was shining brightly. The scene at this moment looked truly like hell on earth, bodies lying everywhere. "You have finished dealing with them," the assassin said. "Don't you see the blood spreading all over? If you don't believe it, go check for yourself." The man in the cloak said, as if I needed to doubt it, "I'm sure you took care of it as you always do." He replied, "If you're done, then get lost." Then the cloaked man continued, "Oh right, by the way, there is currently an investigation about a mercenary who killed Merkel. I heard he has a black scar around his eyes and neck." The assassin replied, "If you say so, that means he is the next target I need to eliminate. I will remember that." He bowed with full formality. "Indeed, you are as sharp as ever. No wonder Lord Ketharak never lets you go." The assassin ordered, "Shut up." Hearing this, he quickly disappeared, leaving a message. "Then I will report today's events to Lord Ketharak." Watching him leave, the assassin only held the cigarette in his hand. Then he sighed deeply and looked up at the sky. He closed his eyes, not uttering a single word. After what felt like an endless time, he whispered, "The black scar around the eyes and neck. If it's the Bogra Kingdom, then it's not far from here. There's one last thing," he said softly. "Elsewhere, this group also wondered what was that bastard's name." The assassin said, "It seems I have another person to kill." The information board appeared. Scholar, clerk of the T's mercenary group. Ofen stood beside another person as the boy nervously hesitated, then asked, "Hey, what do we do now?" In front of them was a gigantic monster, and in the middle of its belly were sharp teeth along with countless tongues twisting inside. It was none other than Ketharak. His eyes seemed to blaze brightly against this gloomy sky. Magath and Ofen had to crane their necks fully upward just to see that fierce face. The boy frowned helplessly, thinking he could devise no solution, while the younger lad only let out a brief, faint cry. Immediately, Ketharak quickly bared his teeth and glared at them. He raised one arm high, preparing for the upcoming attack. When his fist slammed hard into the cold ground below, it shattered the earth into fragments that flew scattered through the air. Then Ketharak lifted his arm and clenched fist once again. Suddenly, a figure leapt down swiftly from high above with a hand clenched into a fist aimed directly at him. From where that person stood, a fierce power shot straight down to where Ketharak was standing. In mere seconds, his body turned to ashes. He screamed out in agony as the sudden pain overwhelmed him. Down below, Ofen and Magath still clung to each other in fear, horrified as they witnessed chunks of Ketharak's flesh falling like blood-soaked rain. Ketharak's very last breath had now faded away. His head fell heavily to the ground, and the light in his pupils was extinguished long ago. From high above, looking down, in the middle of his belly where his second large mouth that always devoured everything used to be, it was now severed between the upper and lower body, surrounded by a flood of fresh blood colors. At the same time, the mysterious man with a hood covering his head coldly spoke to ask the two of them if they were all right. Ofen stammered in response, "Yes, thank you very much." In the forest with lush green pine trees and countless mountains, high above in the sky were monsters spreading their wings flying around. The man added that this area was full of monsters, so it would be better for them to leave quickly. Underneath the enormous body of Ketharak, the three of them were like tiny ants struggling to snatch every chance to survive. After a long pause, Magath finally spoke, saying, "You saved us. I don't know how to repay you." But the other simply replied indifferently, "It's nothing." Ofen reached out, smiling kindly as he expressed his wish. "No, at least we want to invite you to a meal." Magath quickly chimed in to support. "That's right. Our shop is nearby. However, after hearing the words from those two boys, the mysterious man still firmly declined, saying, I must refuse. I am also looking for a place to eat in this area. Ofen was just a boy barely 13 years old at this time, yet in his thoughts he was much more mature than many children his age. Seeing the other person keep refusing like that, he had no choice but to switch tactics. What's the name of that tavern? We know every tavern around here like the back of our hand. The man did not turn his head at all, answering neither quickly nor slowly. It's a tavern named Blue Night. Have you heard of it? Ofen quickly replied, Huh, that's exactly our tavern. What a coincidence. At this moment, Magath asked with confusion, Really? But people don't usually come looking for your tavern on their own. Seeing the boy about to ruin the plan he had devised, the boy then shouted loudly, Shut up, Magath. Then the boy reached out his hand. I am the chef of Blue Night. My name is Ofen, and this is my younger brother, Maget. Ofen hesitated as he asked for the other's identity. Benefactor, your name is? His eyes blazed with red color, icy cold to the extreme, and he responded with a single word, Ban. But Ofen didn't pay much attention to that. The boy said, Great. Then come with us, Benefactor. In the kingdom of Borga, in the outskirts of Blue Night, there was a large building that resided there. Ofen and Magath walked ahead, leading Ban, who followed behind. The boy waved his hand and spoke to a newcomer stepping out of the house. Hasaya, we're back. Hasaya was somewhat startled. Why are you two back so late? Just then, the boys and girls eagerly ran out from the house to greet Ofen. While Hasaya kept talking, we had finished preparing all the ingredients. Ofen only gave a brief reply, sorry, on the way we encountered monsters. Hearing this, Hasaya immediately grabbed the boy's shoulders tightly and shouted in shock. What? Are you two hurt? The boy, hearing this, seemed flustered and said, No, a kind person saved us. Carrying a small bundle full of questions, he asked again, A kind person? Ofen turned his head to speak to the person behind. Yes, quickly go and greet him. Ban promptly stepped forward towards them. He just coldly glanced at the two, and Ofen also looked up at him. This is Ban, he was the one who saved us. The benefactor had originally intended to come to the shop. Hasaya was slightly confused. Why come to our shop? But Ofen didn't explain. Instead, he scolded Hasaya. Be quiet, Hasaya. Quickly invite him inside. Not long after, they were in another room. Ofen pointed to a spot and gently told Ban, Please, sit wherever you like. After a brief evaluation of this place, Ban noticed some things that caught his attention, but here are only kids like you taking care of it? Ofen turned around and flatly denied, No, actually we're just staying here temporarily. That statement dimmed Ban's eyes somewhat. Just staying here temporarily. At this moment, Ofen still spoke gently. Surely you have realized by now we aren't a real family. We all come from different kingdoms. The boy looked toward the place where two other girls were laughing together, Lily and Ain, who had lost their parents in the war. Then Ofen glanced at the angular face of Hasaya nearby. Hasaya's village had been destroyed by monsters. Not far away, Magath was turning around to look at the other children. Magath's family had been killed by mercenaries. At that moment, Ofen's heart was full of memories of an unidentified benefactor. They should have died long ago, but a man had brought them here and cared for them. His lips slightly parted, and he murmured a few words. Is that so? The boy quickly replied, Yes, he is the owner of this place and also our benefactor. Now that you mention it, I wonder what he's doing. Probably sleeping. He came home late last night. Then Ofen exhaled helplessly. Sigh, honestly. I guess I'll have to go wake him up. Please, make yourselves at home and enjoy your meal. After speaking, the boy stepped onto the stairs, his voice tinged with some reproach. How can he sleep so soundly when there are guests at home? Before long, Ofen entered the room, gently closed the door behind him, and called out, Hey! The boy approached the bedside where someone was sleeping, and asked softly, How long do you intend to sleep? The person, hearing this, vaguely turned over and replied, Give me a little more time, sorry. But at that moment, a murderous aura emanated from Ofen. The boy urged, Stop sleeping and quickly go reassure Magath. He almost died when he encountered the monster on the road. He must still be very scared. Immediately, The other person sat up abruptly in a panic mixed with fear. What? Is the boy hurt? Is he okay? Ofen said coldly. He's fine. A kind person saved him, the man muttered under his breath. A kind person? Ofen affirmed confidently. That's right. He was on his way to the shop and saved us, he calmly said. Then I can't just lie here, at least I should go out and thank him. Ofen nodded in agreement. Exactly. After that, the two of them proceeded down the stairs together. Just as he was about to reach the bottom, Ofen spoke up. He's sitting over there. Hearing this, he turned to look and said, I see him. He approached where the man was sitting and said, Hello. I heard you saved my children. Thank you very much. But Ban gently denied the great deed. No, I just happened to be passing by. Even so, he exclaimed in confusion. Well, that's quite an interesting matter, huh? At that moment, Ban looked up, a gleam of killing intent flashing in his eyes as he stared directly at the man. Someone who resembled the person I've been searching for. The man also stood still without a word. His lips pressed into a straight line, but then he still bent down and tried to sit opposite Ban. Impossible. I'm just the owner of a small, unknown shop in the middle of nowhere, Ban replied coldly. Is that so? He began to probe, gradually revealing more of what he already knew. An informant had told him directly that the shop owner was an excellent chef. He rested his chin on his hand in agreement, an unimaginably reliable source. However, the murderous aura from Ban still did not diminish. If you don't mind, I would like to see your skills with my own eyes. Hearing that, the man politely declined with a calm expression as if nothing had happened. The children usually get rowdy whenever I'm in the kitchen. I'm afraid I'd disturb your rest. Ban stubbornly refused to let it go and said, If that's what you're worried about, then how about first thing tomorrow morning? The other man calmly looked for an excuse to decline, saying that by then, the children would all be asleep. Ban stopped as well. Then I will rest early. The man also stood up accordingly, a wise decision indeed. Then he turned to Ofen and instructed, Ofen, please take this guest to an empty room. The boy smiled and asked, I've never seen you become so easily familiar with someone before. Is something going on? But the only reply from him was a curt answer. Who knows? Veins bulged on his face along with intense anger. It's just fellow kind. Naturally, we understand each other. When the sun had gradually faded away, leaving only a vast night sky without a trace of light, Ofen took Ban to an empty room in that house. You can sleep here. If you need anything, just call me. Then the boy turned and left, but Ban suddenly called out his name, Ofen. He lowered his head. Don't thank me. I didn't intentionally save you. The boy did not answer immediately. Strange, the pastor once said the same thing when he saved me. Then the boy stepped out of the room, not forgetting to close the door behind Ban. Well then, good night to you. A little while later, when the moon had risen high, someone's feet stopped in front of the door of the room. On that person's arm was a shining sharp object. That person was none other than Ofen's benefactor, who slowly approached Ban's bedside. He quickly swung the sharp object at him. However, that sudden strike was stopped by someone's hands. He was stunned when he witnessed this. The other man was swiftly kicked away by Ban. Ban frowned and glared at him, speaking grimly. I've been waiting for you. The pastor blocked Ban's attack and glared back fiercely. The man placed both hands on the table, slightly bent down to speak to a radiant presence before him. The black scar on his eye and neck marked him as a magic user, the one suspected of killing Merkel, currently in my tavern. The person on the other end replied, Oh, really? The faint, shadowy figure of another man, his face covered, appeared. Well then, that's one less hassle for me. Use the magic formation to summon me there immediately. The man stared at that figure. Wait, if he senses it, he will run. Let me first make sure he can't escape before I summon others. At that moment, the figure began to fade away. The man looked back at the other with eyes full of murderous intent. Fine, I'll wait. Returning to reality, Ban had already fallen off the bed at some point. He spoke slowly, raising children, but then grew up to kill people like that. It was truly disgusting. However, that man still calmly replied, Sorry, I can't help you. Right then, he was cut off by Ban. Stop talking. Ban glared. dark energy streaming from between his fingers as he said, "Just tell me where that bastard Kezerak is." Hearing this, the man hesitated slightly upon hearing that familiar name. This guy came here already knowing everything about teas. Yet despite that, he did not abandon his loyalty. After all, he couldn't tell Ban anything. Ban wasted no more words on him. Clenching his fists tightly, he said, "Is that so?" Then he swung his leg, his whole body radiating a fierce fighting will. "Let's see if you still dare say that after I cut off each of your arms." The man was no less competitive. He quickly assumed a stance, preparing for the upcoming attack. "If you turn back now, I'll pretend I never saw you." In response, Ban's eyes blazed red. "So, who was the one just now wanting to kill me?" He did not rush to reveal his plans but instead whispered incoherent words. "If that's the case then..." Then the man pulled out a piece of paper, densely covered with lines of black ink writing on white paper. He knelt down on the ground, and as a result, the formation was activated. Powerful beams of light were instantly released outward, and even Ban had to endure a considerable impact. Everywhere the two of them stood seemed to be enveloped by those beams of light. Before long, Ban's feet touched the ground. He cautiously looked around. This place was, thinking that, Ban let his arms hang by his sides, then looked up at the hole above him where the light was shining through. A cave. From the large hole above, looking down into the cave below, Ban felt no different from a tiny ant standing firmly amid the endless space. He once again scanned his surroundings while quietly recalling the forgotten fragments. Earlier was the magic formation, right? I remember Partel once mentioned it. A magic formation is the engraving of power seals onto characters or images. When mana is poured in, that power will burst forth at any time. It is usually cast through paper as an intermediary, but can also be engraved onto specific places or objects. After recalling these details, a warning bell rang within Ban's heart. Where was he? Don't tell me he's already run away. Suddenly, someone stealthily attacked Ban from behind while he was off guard. But fortunately, Ban managed to dodge the unexpected strike in time. He looked at the lingering streak of power in the air mana. Slashes formed by mana were continuously hurled at Ban at the speed of light, and he kept retreating to avoid them. At this moment, Ban stopped moving back. He planted his feet firmly, struggling to maintain his balance. Immediately, a streak of light appeared inside the cave, layers of earth and rock flying wildly through the air. It turned out that Ban was the one who created it, as he raised his hand from where he was standing earlier, then flew swiftly across to the other end of the cave and punched hard against the wall. But then Ban stopped. Waves of black energy seemed to condense in the air. He pulled back his fist, glanced around quietly to assess, then disappeared. However, things were not at all as he thought. The man had appeared behind Ban from who knows when. You shouldn't turn your back. The sharp weapon he wore on his arm suddenly emitted a glow. It resembled a sturdy sword that grazed Ban's cheek, droplets of blood quickly streaming down his face. Ban looked at the wound on his cheek, gritting his teeth in intense fury. Damn it. He immediately jumped backward to put distance between himself and the man. Then he stood upright, unable to see him with the naked eye, nor sense his aura. No sound reached him. Ban's eyes flared with a fighting fire, frowning as he thought, so this is his mark. While Ban was still absorbed in thought, the man was hiding, sitting inside a cave hole, observing his every move from who knows when. He coldly pressed two swords together, the scar on his face more prominent than ever. The hidden mark he was using granted him the power to completely erase his own presence. Suddenly, a surge of power from above struck the spot where Ban was standing, but he managed to quickly dash away to another place. He kept running straight ahead without stopping for a second. In this narrow, dark cave, dodging attacks was already difficult enough. Finding the attacker's position was even more challenging, Ban thought as he glanced back over his shoulder. Before long, the man suddenly used a concealed seal to launch another surprise attack on him. But after several times like this, Ban was able to dodge more gracefully. He braced his hands on the ground, but this time Ban jumped high into the air, a gleam of deadly hatred flashing from his large pupils. At the same moment, the man was still crouched in a corner of the cave. He frowned and slightly opened one eye upon seeing Ban charging toward him. A look of extreme terror flashed in his eyes. Could it be that There was no time left for him to react as Ban swiftly struck the acupressure points on the man. Then he lifted the man off the ground, his voice chillingly cold as he said, "Even if you hide, it's useless," he added fiercely, "because I can still see the flow of your mana." The weapon Ban used was a dual weapon also known as the True Eye. It was like a pair of eyes that could see through the faintest mana flow, something ordinary senses could not detect. The man seemed utterly unable to believe this, absolutely not. But before he could finish speaking, Ban slammed him forcefully onto the ground. The blow created a powerful shockwave. He sat leaning against the stone wall behind him. The man still drank the blood but forced himself to speak. "In 40 years as an assassin, you are only the second cipher to find me, using just mana." But Ban showed no interest in that. He simply asked slowly, "Where is Kezarek?" The answer he received was rather unrelated, but more importantly, "How do you find my children? Cute, aren't they?" Though the boy often has been a bit frightening lately. By this time, Ban had lost all patience. He grasped the man's upper arm tightly, probing bit by bit. "I asked, where is Kezarek?" Then he mercilessly tore off that arm, causing the man to scream in agony. "Answer me." The man clutched his severed arm, gritting his teeth and stammering each word out. "Kezarek, yes, it was his order. Because of that order alone, I slaughtered countless people." It was then that he began to blame himself. "I am someone beyond forgiveness." Ban's patience was now nearly exhausted. He reached out to grab the remaining shoulder. "If you want to confess again, I will tear off your other arm." The man seemed to ignore the warning. "But even if everyone condemned me, I still cannot die. Not until I have protected the children." His face had now gone pale, so, "Let me apologize first." Suddenly, within Ban's sight, the man's only remaining arm slowly raised another glowing sheet of paper. Having been through it once, Ban naturally understood what it was. Another magic formation. Before that formation could completely swallow him, Ban managed to leap back to another spot in time. He kept jumping continuously further backward. At that moment, another figure crawled up from underneath the formation and finally found him. The one who had killed Merkel, the seal engraver. Ban softly dragged his finger across his lips, saying, "Hey!" He stared wide-eyed at the newcomer. "Can't you see we're talking?" Beams of light from the magic formation suddenly attacked Ban, but his legs remained firm, keeping his balance. Feeling the pain radiating from his side, Ban grimaced and clutched tightly as the sounds of judgments began to arise. He had been cut quite deeply. Someone fully masked spoke in a low voice. "Now let me see." With a black scar over his eye and neck, Ban still hadn't grasped what had just happened. His face showed slight confusion as he looked at them, paying no mind to the syrup still steadily oozing from his side. The masked man stood beside a white-haired man, with a huge fierce wolf behind them. As he uttered a few words, it really seemed like those chasing Ban here were the ones who had killed Merkel. The white-haired man's face was smeared and still stained with some syrup as he struggled to breathe heavily. He feigned worry and instructed, "You should be careful. If he finds me through magic, I don't even know what rank sorcerer he is." The masked boss, surprised by this, immediately praised him. "So young, yet truly formidable." The palm pointed straight at them as he calmly shouted, "Hey, you who just appeared out of nowhere, are you willing to answer my question?" The masked boss, puzzled by his words, leaned toward the white-haired man to ask. The question and answer echoed. He inquired about the coordinates of Kezarek. The masked boss suddenly put his hand on his head and muttered, "Sorry, I have to put it like this, but," he tossed aside the mask, saying, "Right now, here." The man's face broke into a mocking grin as he said, "No one will answer your question." And he was a commander of mercenaries for Jet and Tease. Ben's fiery eyes quickly turned back to see. A beam of light prepared to attack him. Ben quickly jumped up to dodge the vicious wolf strike. One of his hands was sliced through, and from there, the blood started pouring out steadily. Ben, filled with rage, leapt up, forming a fist with his hand aimed to kill the fierce wolf. Magic radiated throughout his body. Ben said tensely, "Stop it." The fist in his hand was still there, but the sound kept ringing out. Perhaps this was not the choice. It seemed that talking nicely wasn't going to work. Ben's Godspeed punch struck down, sparks flying. Very quickly, he was below them, face to face. In a battle-ready stance, Ben's eyes were sharp and piercing. The ferocious wolf began to howl. It jumped up angrily, preparing to launch a deadly strike. Behind him, a white-haired man was lying in ambush. As if nothing could faze Ben, he delivered a strike that split the fierce wolf in two. His mouth foamed in pain. It landed gently on the ground. Ben continued on to his next target. It was Verjeton, who looked at him with a crooked smile, murmuring, "The greater your achievements as a sorcerer at your age, the more impressive you are." Verjeton's hands began to gather magical energy to engage him. But what should I do now? Verjeton summoned a pack of fierce wolves charging straight at Ben, and said, "These beasts I can handle." He laughed smugly at his powerful abilities and said that it wasn't just one wolf. The explanation of the summoning seal. By summoning a subspace interconnected with another dimension, it can store and retrieve anything when needed. As if unaware of the imminent danger, Ben dashed like flying straight toward him. Clenching his fists tightly, he thought to himself, "No problem. I just have to defeat them all." Suddenly, the white-haired man flew in from nowhere, swiftly passing by Ben's legs. Just a few strikes from him caused large gashes on Ben's legs, making him foam at the mouth. He said sarcastically, "You were careless." Ben was so pained he froze on the spot, cursing silently in his mind. Damn it. From above, the wolves lunged at him with such force that the ground around shattered. The pack of wolves wrapped tightly around Ben. They pinned him down to the ground, howling wildly. Lying beneath their claws, Ben could only curse silently. Damn it. Verjeton leaned closer to him to examine. Just one of these alone could crush an ordinary mage. Yet Ben remained safe in this situation. What kind of seal is that? Is it a form of physical enhancement? Ben spoke angrily and authoritatively. "I am the only one allowed to question you, so you better answer me immediately." He smugly spoke with satisfaction. "Your straightforward nature suits me well. I have decided to turn you into T's assassin." The man's hand emitted a dark energy as he revealed his sinister intention. "First, after turning you into my precious little slave, the obedience seal, it infiltrates the opponent's mind, destroys the limited ego and creates a new ego according to the caster's will." He reached out his hand toward Ben, who thought confusedly. "Two seals?" Verjeton grasped Ben's head tightly, the blue aura around him slowly enveloping Ben. His eyes lit up as he said, "You are being born anew." The space gradually darkened to a deep red, leaving Ben stunned. "What is this?" He looked towards him, silently wondering if this was inside his mind. Verjeton, with the obedience seal, had turned countless beasts and mages into slaves. He had never failed. That is why Verjeton dares to believe that no matter how powerful the mage or the beast handler is, this time will be no different. What Verjeton doesn't know. A lonely boy, neither fully alive nor completely dead, living for a long 10 years, with a heart filled with determination for revenge. And during those long 10 years, in the dark pit full of suffering, Verjeton stared wide-eyed at Ben, who was controlling him to prevent becoming the slave of that man. He absolutely failed to escape from within himself. Gasping for breath, Ben grew irritated and said, "Hey!" A red aura arose from him. Ben looked directly into his eyes and said with pursed lips, "I won't let anyone roam freely inside another's mind like that." He panicked and stepped back. Impossible. Ben threw a strong punch straight at Verjeton, causing him just to exclaim, "This beast." Verjeton's arm was cut off, and he screamed in pain. Haxa, kneeling on the ground from afar, observed the situation and thought, "Impossible." His face became worried. Could it be that Verjeton's brainwashing technique had failed? The three-eyed wolves were staring greedily at Ben. They had trapped Ben, one locked in a strange cave, the other lurking to spy on someone else's secret. The scene zoomed in. Ben's face appeared with cold, steel-like eyes showing danger and extreme discomfort. From afar, it could be seen that Ben had broken free from captivity, causing the three-eyed wolves. Some panicked, others growling angrily. Power surged strongly from beneath Ben's feet. He threw a fist with his own strength at one of the nearby three-eyed wolves, causing it such pain that it could only open one eye. From that punch, a powerful, sky-reaching force erupted, striking the remaining wolves and sending them flying in all directions. A gray, murderous aura spread everywhere. Inside a house in the midst of a desolate forest that was actually very peaceful. In a moment, That gray murderous aura immediately enveloped the house in its power. Verjetten and Hoxa were thrown aside. The whole group sprawled out there. Through the hazy smoke, Ban stepped out with the power he possessed and said that the magical formation had been broken, while Gumguang was coughing severely up blood. Ban looked toward Verjetten thoughtfully. This guy was useless already. Verjetten was lying face down on the ground, his arm already severed. Ban's expression grew serious as if he was seeing something weak. It was Hoxa, lying on the ground, too weak to stand. Ban's hand grabbed his hair tightly and pulled him up, causing him to scream in excruciating pain. Ban squatted down beside Hoxa and asked, "This is your last chance. Where's Kezerak?" While Hoxa continued screaming in agony. Seeing that he didn't say a word, Ban scowled in anger. Ban let go of Hoxa's hair, and his head hit the ground. Ban said seriously, "If you don't want to talk, then fine." Ban's sinister face appeared again, and clenching his fists in fury, he said, "From now on, I will make you speak." Small footsteps came running from somewhere, and they shouted seriously, "No." Ofen appeared running from Ban's side. Ofen and Magath blocked in front of Hoxa, while Lily and Ein held on to him, shouting, "Don't kill Mr. Hoxa." Hoxa anxiously shouted, "Kids, what the hell are you doing?" Ofen was a little scared but still spoke up, "Please spare his life." Ban clasped his hands awkwardly and replied, "I haven't killed him yet, but he could die during interrogation." Ban's face hardened as he showed his power with his eyes, warning, "So you better get lost quickly, or I might kill you first." A flash of light appeared in a rapid blink. Hazia threw herself at Ban's legs, shouting, "Enough already." Hazia's action made Ofen and the others worried. Ofen shouted, "Hazia." Ban frowned at Hazia and asked, "What are you doing? Let go now." Hazia, with a fearful face, still tightly held Ban's hand and shouted, "Please spare us." Hazia continued shouting, "Spare him." Seeing a weakness in the situation, Hoxa warned, "Run, run quickly, kids." One of them replied, "I don't want to, I can't run." Hearing Hazia say that, Ban was very angry. His power surged as he said, "Are you joking with me?" Ban pushed Hazia away with his hand. She hurt badly from being pushed but endured with eyes closed. Ban powered up his fist, aiming it at Hazia, saying, "If you wanted to die like that." Ofen anxiously reached out toward Hazia and shouted, "Hazia!" Ban still raised his fist and said angrily, "Then I will settle this for you." Hazia fearfully raised his hands to shield himself and screamed in panic. Verjetten stretched out his hand, using the little strength he had left to summon. Seeing the situation, Ban panicked and slowed his actions while glancing toward him. Here's a brief explanation. A summoning seal is a seal connected to the subspace linking to another dimension, allowing the user to store and release what they need. A powerful surge of summoning energy rushed toward Ban with mighty force. Verjetten gritted his teeth, enduring the pain as he used his move. Ban, angry at the scene, raised his hand to defend while thinking, "That bastard? He's still alive?" The sources of summoning power charged at Ban. Bizarre tentacles continuously stabbed him, but perhaps he had defended well, as no tentacle managed to pierce him. Ban glanced at the summoning power and thought, "This one." Hazia, on this side, was terrified as a tentacle lunged toward him. On Ofen and Hoxa's side, it was no different. Hazia's face twisted in pain, and Ban immediately thought, "It's not aiming at me." Those tentacles successively stabbed through each person one by one. Ban stomped the ground to gain momentum and charged forward. He ran in the opposite direction without looking back. Over by Verjetten, he forced out his contemptuous smile and thought, "It's too late now, but I can still offer myself." While you were struggling fiercely against his tentacles, he kept thinking, "Entering my dimension." You had captured his summoning power, and you looked at it sternly. Verjet, in another dimension, was thinking that once I killed Hoxa and those kids, he would no longer be able to extract any information about Lord Kezerak. He kept blaming, "Damn it, I've suffered a lot," and while he was thinking, a foot stood behind him. He continued thinking, all because of a sorcerer. The ego inside was like that. I needed to immediately inform Lord Kezerak, and while he was devising a way to counter, you had entered his space, using your power to make Verjet feel confused. He slowly turned his face around, sweat pouring down. Impossible. How? Without letting him continue thinking, You placed your hand on his head, and he asked in confusion and fear, "How did you enter my dimension?" You put your hand on the tear in space and said, "There was still a small path leading to the summoned dimension that hadn't fully closed." Slowly, you tore it open, making the space tear gradually larger, then continued speaking. "Right before it completely closed, I injected magic power and tore it open to slip in. You should have locked the door tight. I'm too tired of these dimensions." Your face darkened, leaving only your murderous eyes. Vergette was very frightened and quietly cried out twice. Strange patterns appeared all over Ban's body. Ban said, "Don't worry, I don't intend to kill you immediately, because you killed Haken, and I still have many things to do with you." Ban appeared surrounded by blazing red power, grabbed Vergetten's head, and continued speaking, "I will bring you out again after about a month." Behind Ban, bizarre monsters with many distorted faces appeared. Ban said, "Try to endure a little longer." A notification appeared, investigating a bit. The third curse tool, the gluttonous bag, a bag that swallows creatures using magical power. Cannot swallow creatures with mana or souls exceeding the summoners. That monster stuck out its tongue and slowly coiled around Vergetten, causing him to scream in terror. He screamed in despair. "No." Vergetten reached out as if trying to grab something. He shouted, "I don't want to go back there. Please, damn it." His screams were dragged down into the deep abyss by the monsters. When he was completely swallowed, the monster from Ban's side slowly retracted. Outside the space, everything was calm and silent at that moment. Ban stepped out into the space and said, "As expected, the gluttonous bag consumes a great deal of magical power. With the power I currently have, even using it once is risky." Nearby, Hoxa was holding the children. Ban collapsed to the ground, looking exhausted, while the space gate slowly closed. Ban looked intently at something. Then he thought, "Are they all dead?" The bloody scene appeared before Ban. Hoxa was holding Lily and Ein, while Ofen was on one side, all of them bleeding. Hazia had also bled out, lying on the ground with eyes wide open in fear, still unclosed. Magath beside him had also collapsed from excessive blood loss. Ban slowly stood up and thought to himself, "After all, I already have a useful hostage. I must get out of here and restore my magical power first." Hoxa suddenly spoke up, "Wait," causing Ban to be surprised. Hoxa, with a fervent spirit pleading for help, the little girl. She was still breathing. Hoxa's tear-streaked, anguished face appeared as he begged, pleaded with you to save her. Ban turned back to glance at him with a frightening look. The land where a terrifying battle between life and death had just occurred had now become eerily quiet. In the silent darkness, footsteps slowly pressed down on the grass and advanced. A long curly-haired man approached, lowering his eyes to the bodies lying in pools of blood. It seemed a fierce battle had taken place here. The burly man, whose origin was unknown, found a severed hand. In confusion, he announced that the arm belonged to Bergten as well. The curly-haired man snorted coldly, thinking that anyone who dared kill both leaders of Tees must be insane. Then he turned to the burly man and asked, "What do you think, Mongo? Can you trace the culprit's trail this time?" The man called Mongo sniffed and replied uncertainly, "The scent is fading but still lingers. He was here until just yesterday." The curly-haired man nodded, then ordered the cloned subordinates behind him, "Rabin, you must quickly report to Lord Ketharak. As for me, I will join Mongo to track down that bastard's trail." The group of Rabin masked men all knelt simultaneously to accept the orders. Understood. The curly-haired man was still in no hurry to leave. He lowered his eyes to the cold body of Hoxa and sneered, "Scholar, is this the ending you longed for?" His expression was full of contempt, his cold eyes glancing down as if looking at a wild animal, utterly meaningless. The next day, the golden light of dawn warmly shone down on the vast mountain ranges. Ophian seemed to snap out of a dream. The little girl suddenly opened her eyes wide and screamed loudly. Ban, sitting beside her, showed neither joy nor any expression, only coldly said, "Finally, you have awakened." Ophian held her aching head as she sat up, overwhelmed by confusion. "This? Where am I?" Recalling the tragedy from the night before, the girl immediately asked tensely, "Scholar, what about the others? The children?" Ban maintained his cold expression, his tone icy without any warmth. Except for you, all of them died instantly. Afian was stunned, her deep eyes widening as if she couldn't believe what she had just heard. What? No, no, it can't be. The little girl's face shriveled, her brows furrowing tightly like a gaunt demon. Tears of agony welled up from the hollows of her eyes. It can't be true. You must be mistaken. You are wrong. Afian collapsed, face pressed to the ground, lamenting and deceiving herself. Yes, I must go save them. They are still there. They can still live. Unable to bear the frantic sorrow, Ban was forced to calm her with words. Stop it. I was the one who personally buried the children. The little girl refused to believe it, her face still cast down to the ground. No, Afian gradually accepted the truth, but her body lost all strength and fell down in agony. No, it can't be. Why only save me, why? The girl slowly descended into madness, even reproaching the one who saved her, saying, You should have let me die with the children. Why save me? Yet Ban coldly drew a line between them. Don't misunderstand. I saved you because I need you, and that was the truth. That night, he heard Hox's plea but coldly walked away without looking back. Why should I? Even if I save her, she won't live long. Sooner or later, she'll be torn apart by monsters or killed by robbers. The scholar murmured. Afian, he embraced the children, his lips whispering as he tried to affirm the value of the little girl. Afian knows about Ketharak and Tease. She will provide information to you instead of me. Those words successfully made him stop in his tracks, turning around with a face full of surprise. As if seeing a faint glimmer of hope, Haska bowed in desperation, begging, Please, take the girl to some village. She is a strong and fortunate child, and then surely she will survive, I beg you. Ban asked, You won't waste effort on a worthless sacrificial pawn. But what if Afian knows nothing about Ketharak? The scholar answered without hesitation, As long as Afian has a chance to be saved, then kill or spare her, it's up to you. Seeing the other's certainty, Ban finally showed a bit of trust. It seems he was not lying. Fine, I will let her live. Haska's breath was fading. He whispered his last words, You must, a final word. Save. Echoed as the scholar completely collapsed onto the cold ground. Back in reality, Afian admitted that they had arrived, but the girl still could not accept the pain and screamed. No, that's impossible. At that moment, Ban's bandaged hand suddenly tightened around the girl's neck, lifting her up. Afian didn't even bother to struggle. She hung like a resigned mouse. Ban interrogated her coldly. I'm sorry, but I can't wait any longer. Tell me about Ketharak. The girl knew her worth. Afian opened her mouth, lips barely moving as she answered. The kingdom of Barkan. Most likely he is there. The girl honestly recounted everything she knew. The last time he visited the scholar, he said he was entrusted by King Barkan to go there, and she also heard him say he would stay in Barkan for a while. Ban glanced over, continuing to ask what the Ketharak looked like. Afian, like a machine, answered everything without any emotion. Every time he appeared, he changed his appearance, probably due to the seal he used. He asked again, Do you know anything about his seal? And the girl muttered a reply, not very clear. Afian did not hide anything. He answered whatever he knew. But the scholar once said he was a mage born with 3 kinds of seals, a rarity so great that across the entire Aten continent, there were only a few like him. Ban's orange-red eyes slowly glanced downward, feeling somewhat displeased. 3 types really troublesome. He coldly put the girl down without wasting time and went straight to the point. All right, there's no more time. You should finish telling me on the way. Afian still hung her head, unable to understand what he wanted to know for a moment. On the way? Where to? Ban replied coldly. I promised the scholar that I would escort you safely to a village. Consider it my repayment for the information you gave me. Knowing that the scholar had paved the way for her until the very last minute, the girl's pupils suddenly contracted. Scholar, scholar. Ban did not give Afian much time to grieve. He urged, We're leaving right now. Get up. The girl lowered her head and replied, Yes, I understand. Then those small feet slowly stood up, trembling as they followed the footprints ahead. At the end of the path was a brilliant area of light. Perhaps they were inside a dark cave, and the bright light ahead, so bright and warm that Ophion had to raise her hand to shield her eyes. The girl's pupils dilated. The colors of the beautiful world reflected deeply in her blue eyes. Before them was something large. Ophion looked confusedly toward Ban, who continued to walk forward calmly. This was a rock, or rather, a small mountain made from a single massive boulder, standing there towering before them like a magnificent statue. Seeing the girl's confusion, Ban rarely said much in explanation. I already told you, I buried all the children's bodies beneath this rock. Yet Ophion still didn't understand why such a huge stone was there. He answered, only this way will grave robbers or monsters be unable to dig them up. His eyes, already devoid of light, now grew even gloomier. The children were innocent. They were nothing more than that. Ban gently closed his eyes, commanding Ophion, who was still stunned behind him, say your final farewell. Without hesitation, the girl summoned all her strength and rushed forward step by step. Standing before the colossal rock, Ophion suddenly froze, staring intently down at its base. She leaned against it, pressing her cheek against the cold stone. Her tearful face scrunched up as she tried to suppress her sobs. Yet the hot tears still flowed freely, soaking and blurring her fragile young face. Ophion's memories gradually rewound. The bastard Ketharak had appeared once before, punishing and scolding Hoxa in a disdainful tone, saying, you abandoned tease, only to waste your life caring for those children. If I were to kill all those kids, would you return to the old self, that exquisite assassin you once were? His whole body was covered in blood and he collapsed, yet his voice remained firm, pleading, please spare them, Lord Ketharak. Please spare the children. Ketharak seemed to agree, but with an even tougher condition attached. From now on, your responsibility will double, and if you still want to play the role of the orphanage director, don't think you can run away again. Seeing him leave, Ophion finally dared to speak up, asking, are you all right, sir? The scholar forced a smile and feigned well-being, apologizing. Sorry for letting you see me in such a miserable state. He spread his wide arms to embrace the children, gently comforting them with slow, reassuring words. But don't worry, I will protect all of you, no matter what. Hasaya nodded, then pouted and complained, sir, fine, but you smell bad. Hearing this, Hoxa couldn't help but burst out laughing. The children were the same. Despite having just gone through a dangerous ordeal, they still managed to crack the most innocent smiles. Some time later, Hoxa was happily amused by the new name of the institution. See, doesn't the store's name sound really lucky? Ophion bluntly replied. Sounds awful. The scholar immediately drooped his spirits. Really? Is it that bad? The scene shifted again. On the lush green grass, the children resumed their game of chase. Harsha, come here, that's mine. If you catch me, I'll give it back. Hoxa gently called out from under the tree. You kids, Lily is sleeping, be quiet. They had been like that for a long time, always cheerful and happy. But now that family no longer bore the presence of Ophion, because she was the only one still alive. Back to reality. Ophion had somehow gripped the rock so tightly that her fingertip was cracked. Her face was filled with fury. At this moment, her pupils held nothing but unbearable agony and rage that could not be quelled. Ophion barely moved her lips and softly asked, Sir, are you planning to kill Ketharak? Ban turned his head to reply, Once I learn what I need to know, I will of course kill him. She turned her head back. Her face was now smeared with tears of anger. If so, let me come with you. Even if I have to grind that bastard to dust, I will do it. Ban held his posture. His red eyes glanced over in assessment. No one could understand what he was thinking. After a while, a figure suddenly appeared. He bent down to sniff something on the ground. Mongo turned to the curly-haired man and reported, The scent is much stronger. He was here just a few hours ago. He looked up at the huge rock before him and firmly confirmed, Yes, right here. The smell is very strong. The curly-haired man nodded. Good news. His body surged with bursts of pungent death energy. His solemn face hidden in the shadows yet exuding fierce killing intent. Whoever he is, we will confront him soon.